Did you hear about the Did you hear about that town that was completely burned to the ground?
Um, was Malt in Washington, right?
Yeah, it's called Malden. It's
Malden.
just in between Spokane and Pullman. It's
Yeah,
pretty
it's a town on the Columbia River, and it completely, yeah, it's tragic.
like I didn't think the fires would extend that far west into the Palouse, but they did.
Yeah, it's so dry, and that those fires they can move through. They can move through sagebrush, and they can move through everything. It's pretty scary. I bet. Have any of you? Sorry, the dogs are going crazy. Is that? Can you guys hear all that? Sorry. Um, uh, they're keeping us safe from all the marauding hordes that are walking in front of our window. Anyway, uh, have some of you had um, uh, any classes where someone's been trying to like link in from campus, from Whitman campus, either yesterday or today? And did you get the extreme stutter and freeze, like the talking and then they'll continue on? Yeah, I've had two meetings that were completely worthless because I couldn't understand. And then your brain, I don't know about you guys, but like when that extreme audio stutter happens and video stutters, like my brain just starts to cramp on itself and it's just so exhausting. So, um, luckily, we don't have to worry about that because Pocket iNet has not had the problems. But the reason I brought that up, that you've probably got an email about this or your classes have talked about it, but the reason for the wonkiness of Whitman's internet right now is that our primary internet connection, the line got severed by a forest fire north of Walla Walla up towards Spokane. And so we're on our backup internet connection, and that backup internet connection is having some weird connectivity issues with streaming. So that's what that's all about. So it's all related to these wildfires. And as Will mentioned, there's been catastrophic loss to people as well. Um, and then, yeah, there's, as Peter mentioned, yeah, there's in the chat, it's snowing now in Colorado. And so I've seen great pictures on Twitter of people showing like extreme smoke at their house to like a foot of snow on the ground the next day. So pretty crazy weather we're having. Um, by the way, these are all things we predict happening associated with global climate change, right? Another way to think about global climate change, the term is global weirdening. And so we see a weirdening of the climate where we see these extremes that can happen really quickly in the climate. And that's probably some of what we're seeing. You know, it's really dicey to blame any particular fire on climate change because there's a lot of factors in there, including that we just love to move closer to where things burn down as well, like we move closer into the mountains. So there's a lot there, but a lot of what we're seeing is consistent with climate change. And that's what's happening. We'll talk about this later in the semester as we push ourselves towards a more a new climate. Oftentimes you get big wiggles kind of in like the norms during those transitions, and we've seen this in the paleoclimatic record with the transition from the Pleistocene, the last glacial climate, to the Holocene, our interglacial climate that we're in right now. And in that transition, you see big fluctuations, and so that's partly what we're seeing now is these effects as we run this real-time global experiment on pumping massive amounts of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. Yeah, Zachary, where are you?
I'm in San Mateo, more or less the Bay Area, and everything's orange. So
Yeah, look at that. 24-hour a day sunsets. Yeah, it's pretty nuts right now. As I was mentioning, we will come back to this stuff in geomorphology when we start seeing things like after forest fires, when we start raining on these landscapes, will potentially be triggering big debris flows. And our first outside the textbook reading is going to be by one of my favorite science journalists, science writers, John McPhee. And so we all hopefully, or maybe not hopefully, sorry, some of you may have heard of John McPhee. He's still kicking. He's got to be in his mid 90s by now. But he's been a writer I think, yeah, he's a he's a journalist by training. He's a writer by training. And just, I think starting in the late 70s, he just kind of got really interested in geologists and geology, but really geologists. And so he's written several books following geologists. Basin and Range is a big one. Rising from the Plains is another. And he's written several books on essentially he wrote a book, which is several essays, called The Control of Nature, which is our attempts to deal with natural processes. And so we'll read 2 chapters from that. One is the first one we'll be reading in Mass Movements is going to be LA Against the Mountains. And so it's a wonderful story of what happens when you run out of flat land at the bottom of the valleys and people start building up into the mountains closer to, where you have significant gravitational potential and significant debris flows. So that's what's coming up in this course. But I did want to just start with that to let you guys know what's going on in the world and that it absolutely relates to this class. Okay, so with that being said, let's continue on. Does anyone have anything else they want to share before we get going?
How close are these fires to Walla Walla?
We don't have any ones that are really, really close to us. And remarkably, our smoke right now isn't that bad. Like, people are still going on runs right now. Our air quality index is like, it's hovering in that green to yellow, like good to like slightly hazardous. So I think the closest fires are north of us towards Spokane, but maybe if anyone knows better than I do, which ones are closest.
All I know is that Kevin said the wind is blowing from the east now, and so that's why Walla Walla is so clear, and that later in the week it will get worse.
Yeah. So I wish I could make this graphic bigger. No, can't make it look bigger. There we go. Is that kind of bigger? So here's what Carmen's mentioning. Here's Walla Walla right down here. And so all the big fires in Washington are to the north of us. And what we're seeing is that everything's kind of blowing to the in our region. Kind of, we got this southeasterly wind, and things are kind of blowing around us right now. And that's what's keeping Walla Walla relatively smoke-free right now. Although it's all relative, because it's still pretty smoky here compared to what it'll look like later when these fires are eventually put out. But you can see kind of these fires blowing up in the Cascades down here in Oregon as well. Another thing to check out is that you can look at the thermal data from satellites, and these fires in Oregon, it's crazy. It looks like, if you look at like the thermal data, it looks like there's these brand new cities that are south of Portland. And what they are is you can see these fires in the thermal imagery from satellites. So it's pretty spectacular. Okay, so.
Wait, Lyman, did you see any of the downed trees in Walla Walla from that windstorm a couple days ago?
No, I have not seen any. Are there some big tree throws with them?
Well, yeah, there are. I saw, like, it reminded me, I was walking right by, on Isaacs, I was walking right by Fiji, right as the big tree in their front yard blew completely over. And
Whoa.
I saw that, like, root ball that you were talking about.
Yeah.
Hey, they turned up the soil.
Yeah, excellent. So yeah, geomorphology in action, right? So yeah, that's absolutely churning of the soil. And so that's a natural process when you have these wind and you kick up that root ball and it churns the soil. Thank you, Will, for sharing a map of where the fires are as well. All right, yeah, lots going on here. Okay, so in geomorphology, we're getting to a point in the course where you're juggling multiple assignments right now, and so that's kind of by design. We're going to start to see that you're going to have to plan and work on things at multiple assignments at the same time, and budget your time a little bit. And so part of the whole goal of having the pre-recorded lectures and trying to flip the classroom is giving you time in class to actually work on assignments and ask me questions. So that's actually what we're going to be doing for the rest of today. Is I've posted homework 2, and what I'm going to do is we're going to have our first experiment where I'm going to try and have you guys complete homework 2 and lab 3 with a partner. And so I'm just going to be assigning you partners based on who's in class today. And then I'll throw you in the breakout rooms. And then, and basically you have the rest of the class today to start on homework 2. And then you'll use that same partner this afternoon for our lab assignment. So the homework is going to be based on the lectures we've had over the past week, looking at weathering in soils. And then our homework this afternoon is going to be based on our lecture for today on geomorphic hydrology. So that's what we're working on right now. Now, the homework number 2 is another assignment that's a PDF that I've posted to you all via Cami. You can fill it out like you did lab 2 in terms of just fill everything out in Cami, which works pretty well. Or if you want to print it out and write on it, you can do that as well. And what I'm working on is trying to figure out how we can get assignments if you print it out, write it out, and then scan it back in and see if we can just get that back into Cami so that they're all in the same place. And so we're going to try that. I haven't quite figured it out yet. Maggie, does that work?
Yeah, you need to upload it back into Cami, but I wasn't sure if you could see it or not. So if you can go to my Cami and see if you can see it.
I can see it, but what I can't see is that it's linked to the Canvas assignment. It's kind of off on its own. So I'm wondering if in the Cami assignment, if you can add pages to the end of it and just input your pages on the end. If not, in that way, just I want to be able to have a way to get you feedback on it. I've got it, so that's good. So we'll work on that. So this homework assignment, you can either complete it in Cami, or if you want to print it out and work on it in paper and then scan it back in, you can do that as well. So our homework assignment is going to be on it's going to be some steps to take you through thinking about chemical weathering. And, basically you'll actually get to think about weathering of things like basalt, which are really kind of important as we live in a basalt landscape. So you'll actually get to think about how basalt weathers and how the factors that influence kind of what basalt turns into as it weathers away. And so the plan here is I'll throw you into breakout rooms, and you and your partner are going to be working, and you'll both be able to see the file and work with it. But my hope is that only one of you needs to turn it in, that you guys can decide who's going to have the copy that you'll eventually turn in, and then you'll just post that back to Canvas through the Cami link. Does that make sense? Okay, so okay, that's the plan here. What else do I want to say on this? I'm going to keep everything going, and so when you and your partner have a question, you should be able to bop out of your breakout room back to the main room, or send me a message. I think you can send me a message, and I can pop into your breakout room and answer a question. So that's going to be our plan. How does that sound for everyone? Good? Okay. All right, so we've got an even number here today, so this should work well. So I've created the rooms, and so they are now open. You've got your new partner for this week, and you can go in and start working on this stuff, and we'll see you. Hello. How's it going? Is everything okay?
Yeah.
You finishing up?
Yeah.
You feeling a little better? You were pretty sad there for a minute.
Feeling a lot better.
What happened?
Just she was going a little too fast.
Okay. Well, she's still talking now. Why aren't you listening?
Because I can hear it from here.
Why don't you go finish out the day? Come on. Finish out the morning.
Not really a fan of the name.
Hey, that worked.
Yay.
What's up?
Hi, we have a question.
Yes.
Are we supposed to, can we submit the homework together? Is that what you said?
Yeah, the goal is
Okay.
that you only submit one of them. And I'm working on, now that I couldn't set this up beforehand because I didn't know who was going to come to class and what groups would be what. So now what I'm working on now is trying to set up groups in Canvas so that it'll know you two are together. And we'll cross our fingers to see if that works.
Okay.
So, are we supposed to like type on the same document on Cami? And how does one
Yeah,
go
you
about
could
it?
totally just type right on top of it and put your answers in. This one should be pretty easy to fill out in Cami and not bother printing it out. I think it will work pretty well.
I'm struggling with Cami.
Is it like Google Docs where you like share a document to each other, or how does that work on Cami?
Yeah.
My idea is that you're probably both looking at your own just the independent version of it, but talking about the questions.
Okay.
Maybe you can share that potentially through Google Docs. Yeah, let me pull, is there a way? Because I saw
just downloaded it onto my computer, and I'm just gonna like see if I can drop it into Google Docs and share it with you, Will.
That'd be great.
Okay.
Thanks.
Let's see if I can. I don't know if it's gonna upload as a PDF. It probably will.
it should, because everything's it should from Canvy to Google Docs. So do you guys get here? Let me share my screen with you.
Are we just like the only ones struggling with this?
I think maybe other people are just looking at their
Yeah, it's just a PDF. Like you can't mark on it on Google Docs.
yeah, that's why you have to do it through Cami.
Okay. Annotate with Cami.
Can you?
What if you copy and paste it over to Google Docs? Maybe that.
Oh, that's a way. Okay. I don't know. There's a lot of like tables and charts.
Do you have the ability in Cami to share up here like I do?
Possibly.
Because then you could potentially work on it that way.
Share button. Share document. Wow. Okay. Yes, anyone can.
Anyone with link is editor. That would be great.
Anyone with the link, wait, is an editor. Yes.
Yes, if you could email me.
Copy. I'm going to email it to you right now. Let's see if this works. Come on. Well.
Hey, Lyman,
Yes.
you're still sharing your screen. Is that intentional? Or...
Oh, no, I was going to go work on the groups. I will stop. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go.
Did you get the email, Will, that I just sent you
Let me check.
on Cami? Hopefully.
Wrong email account.
Oh.
Well, let me try.
Oh, yours. Okay.
Yes, I got it.
Hopefully it works.
I go to it.
I made you an editor, I'm pretty sure.
Thank you.
I see your little bubble on it. Oh my gosh.
Here.
Okay, so that looks like it might actually work for you guys.
Did you see my hello?
No, I didn't.
Now can you?
I see a little CT in the bottom right.
I see yours as well. What? Oh, did you type Will Robertson and Carmen?
Yeah, I did, yeah.
Oh my gosh, it works. I can see that. Perfect.
Great.
Cool beans. Okay, I think this is working.
I think we're good, yeah.
Okay.
Thank
All right,
you.
I'm going to pop out then. And then I'm going to broadcast a message to all. Hi, all. You should be able to share a Cami document with your partner and work in the same document. Okay.